abusia asem asi ha the truth so me di betu monim say US na Iran omo ba be din komo say de be ya asundwie ebeba ewo Pakistan omo capital town a yefre ho Islamabad na Pakistan prime minister and a host to sa dialogue we are ebekoso between US and Iran. Now already madin kan the video beto say Iran for abom modern achichiri nsemfuo bi a omode beto US for and say US for ti ase dia ansa na peace talk no omoka agreement na tima ya adwuma. Hwiebe nkomo no akoso na nkomo no course no enti ase anya adwuma. Eti emabufuo bae ema US Vice President your friend JD Vance one ni panifo a omobo manam ekopie mu ewo Pakistan no omudi abufuo esori freedom ho ekofa play esan by US ntiase anya adwuma simply because demand a omudi man Iran for say enya de say omobe somu omunja nuclear weapon ye omumbie ensuo no mu na obi amefa oil Iran for say the big da nti ntokwa no yebesa ahya ase ntokwa no besa ahya ase ceasefire no anya adwuma omun komo no nti ase anya adwuma enti Donald Trump say wadi Iran for ho ya papa omo are very dishonest very dishonest yenti mu ase.
Vice President Vance started his day meeting with the Prime Minister of Pakistan, who has played a key role in getting the U.S. and Iran to a ceasefire and to the negotiating table. But there are now big issues to hammer out to reach a peace agreement.
This morning, Vice President J.D. Vance touching down in Pakistan for the high-stakes talks between the U.S. and Iran, aimed at reaching an agreement to end the now 6-week war. Vance greeted by Pakistani officials upon arrival, leading the U.S. delegation, which also consists of Special Envoy Steve Witkoff and the president's son-in-law, Jared Kushner. Before he took off for Islamabad, the vice president speaking to reporters.
If the Iranians are willing to negotiate in good faith, we're certainly willing to extend the open hand. If they're going to try to play us, then they're going to find that the negotiating team is not that receptive.
The talks come 4 days into a fragile ceasefire. President Trump expressing optimism.
We'll be able to finish it off one way or the other. It's going well.
The White House says negotiators are working off a modified 10-point proposal from Iran. A key U.S. demand, Iran turning over its stockpile of enriched uranium.
No nuclear weapon. Number one.
The Iranian delegation touching down in Pakistan overnight, insisting the U.S. must release its frozen assets, tens of billions of dollars tied up by international sanctions. President Trump earlier posting on social media, the Iranians don't seem to realize they have no cards, other than a short-term extortion of the world by using international waterways, adding, the only reason they are alive today is to negotiate. Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps said Friday its forces have not carried out airstrikes since the ceasefire began. But Iran has failed to meet President Trump's main condition, reopening the Strait of Hormuz. On Friday, just 2 ships moving through the critical waterway. The president accusing Iran of being dishonorable, posting, "That is not the agreement we have." But Iran claiming it's the U.S. now breaking the agreement, with Israel continuing its strikes on Lebanon. The White House says Lebanon was never part of the ceasefire.
President Trump says he thinks these talks will go quickly, but he told the New York Post that the U.S. military is resetting in case no deal is reached with Iran. Rhiannon?
All right, Karen, thank you for that. And by the way, that ceasefire leading to these peace talks is a fragile one, threatened by missile strikes that are continuing all around the Middle East. ABC's Marcus Moore is in Beirut with the latest on that. Good morning, Marcus.
Rhiannon, good morning. We are at one of the strike sites in Beirut. We're told that this was a multi-story apartment building that was hit on Wednesday, and you can see now it is just a pile of rubble. We're told that there were a number of deaths here, and you look at the rubble and you can see furniture in there, also see blankets. There's a mattress on the other side and even books. And in fact, this looks like study materials for someone who's learning French. That everything that you would see inside of someone's home is left exposed here in Beirut right now. And this is just one of more than 100 sites that were hit on Wednesday, not only here in Beirut, but also across southern Lebanon. And while the Israeli strikes have slowed, those strikes are ongoing, particularly in the south. In fact, we have seen new video of a strike just yesterday in Kfar Joz. Now, Israel says that it has been targeting Hezbollah, but residents and also emergency services here say that they have been targeting residential areas. And I can tell you that there is immense sadness and anger here. Hezbollah has fired a number of rockets into northern Israel in retaliation for these recent strikes. And all of this is now playing a critical role in the effort to secure a peace agreement in the war in Iran. U.S. and Israeli officials are trying to separate the war in Iran and what's happening here as two different issues. But the Iranians have said there can be no agreement in the war unless there's a ceasefire here in Lebanon.
It is quite a scene behind you. Marcus Moore for us. We appreciate it.
Peace talk na kaye na yehwe se dia sumdwie ebeba Iran na US na Israel tem no. Antimi anya adwuma antimi anstande enti obia peniba bia afa. Ese obia kwakoboa na ho kwan befa so obetima strike more. Obetimi abombo ne yonko territory because nkomo na nkaye kwakodi na asumdwie aba no. US for anti-asiye, Iran for so anti-asiye. Aha, the truth is